Life Solutions Guaranteed session. We are still doing interactive session. It's all about interaction. So in the first, this is the third session. Somebody asked a question. When I want to do good, for example, when traveling on a bus, I see an old man and I want to offer my seat to him. But I decide against it when I think that I have to stand for the rest of the journey. Whereas when I want to smoke a cigarette, I get a total concurrence from inside me to go ahead, saying that one cigarette will not ruin my life. So he is asking, why am I not able to control myself and do what is really correct?
Recording in progress.
Then let us see what Swamiji says. You see, when you take in something with your mind, something that has been told to you from outside, you don't see its benefits clearly and deeply. Although you understand it at the intellectual level. But when you experience something deeply yourself, it becomes your own understanding so that you stand by it without any problem. Please understand, the cigarette has merged with your being. You have experienced it yourself. It is not through someone else's preaching, it is your own experience. That is the reason your heart accepts it. But the happiness that you get by offering your seat to someone on the bus is something that you have not experienced deeply. You have just been told by people that it is good to offer your seat to an elderly person in the bus. That's all. At the most, you will feel a certain satisfaction at having followed social etiquette. That's all. In the case of the cigarette, you have become the experience itself. Please understand, what you have not experienced for yourself will not attract or pull you to it. If you had really experienced the joy of helping others, you would have offered the seat to the old man. For true experience to happen, meditation is the way. When we meditate, our heart, which is as hard as a stone, will flower and become as soft and sensitive as cotton. And we will feel the compassion towards others. At present, we either read in some magazine or we are told by elders that it is good to give our seat to older people in the bus. That's all. Instead, what should happen is that feeling of helping should flower within us and we should then offer help. Sensitivity will become a way of life only if meditation has happened in you, or else it will remain just skin deep. Meditation is like a drill that pushes the teachings received through the head to the heart. Then justice, honesty, and similar virtues will become a way of life. Otherwise, all these virtues, sadgunas, sugunas, will remain as intellectual knowledge without turning into experiential knowledge. All right, we had enough of question and answers and, everything, interaction, listening and everything. Let us get into the subject now. First, let us see how the human mind works. Let us see how the human mind works. The mind is the only thing that stands between you and you. If you can drop your mind, you become enlightened. Only one truth, over. Just in one line, Swamiji uttered everything. Just one line. All teachings are here. If you can drop your mind, you become enlightened, over. See, understand, just because we can't do all that, just that one line, we go about beating around the bush, that technique, that completion, this completion, everything. Otherwise, it's only one line. That's all. Whole essence is here. Climax is already here. Reprogram your hardware and software. Before we get into how the mind works, let me explain something about the mind and how the presence of a master can change the entire mental setup of a person. There are two things in you: hardware and software. Your mind is the software, your brain is the hardware. Understand? Your mind is the software and your brain is the hardware. In the mind itself, that is, in the software itself, there are two parts. Understand? The software, so-called mind, in that itself you have two parts: the conscious zone and the unconscious zone. Please listen carefully. Understand? Everything depends on just your listening, nothing else. Try to make very less body movements. Breathe slowly, inhale and exhale. Slowly. Get into the stable zone and listen. The conscious zone and the unconscious zone. The conscious zone is the actual software. The unconscious zone is the virus. The conscious zone can be cleansed by teachings. The unconscious zone can be cleansed by meditation. Understand? Once more. Please don't unmute yourself, anybody. Please understand, the conscious zone can be cleansed by teachings, but the unconscious zone can be cleansed by meditation. Now, this is about software, mind. Now, the hardware, that is the brain itself. Now, the brain itself needs to be tuned to hold the changes in the software. Understand? Brain also needs to be tuned to hold the changes in the software, that is mind. That is the new experience that is created through the changed software. Because you'll have a new experience when your software changes, isn't it? This can happen by the blessings of the Guru, Master, by initiation, Diksha from him. This can happen only with the blessings of Guru and initiation, Diksha. That is why no matter how many practices we do, Guru is the only path. Easiest path, I tell you. Why we doing all this meditation and all that? Let me tell you, just have a Guru in front of you. You just sit and keep watching like that. Enough. That is my personal experience. Now, whatever techniques I'm uttering, I'm telling you, everything is fine. But climax is just sit in front of the Guru, that's enough. That you'll know after going through all the techniques. Then you'll understand. Then you'll think, why did I do all these techniques? All these days and years. All I need to do is gaze at my Guru, that's it. For transformation to happen. Anyhow, please understand, when you clean the conscious and unconscious and create an effect, the hardware may not be able to hold and sustain that effect. Somebody is unmuting or what? Yeah. Okay, I'm muting them. Okay. When you clean the conscious and unconscious and create an effect, the hardware, means brain, may not be able to hold and sustain that effect, that change. If the master's initiation happens, the hardware also changes to hold that effect. In the absence of a living master, constant meditation and teaching can change the hardware. Our current, present hardware is like grooves created out of samskaras. Stored, what is a samskara? Stored past memories in the brain. Once the new software happens, means a change in the mind, the hardware, brain, will slowly change. But if you wish to immediately change the hardware, the master's presence is the right thing. Straight away it will change. Just one initiation, over, done. Just 1 hour. If not, what? If you don't have a living master? Meditation techniques, then it will change. Years together you have to be doing that, isn't it? Yes, it's a good way, no doubt, but it takes a long time. For an immediate change, straight away, master's presence. Sometimes, without even changing the software, understand this clearly, without even changing the mind, software, the hardware also can be changed, and the person will directly start radiating the correct software. Look at this. Change the software, mind, change your brain, hardware, to hold that effect. That is one way. Sometimes, even without changing your mind, The hardware can be changed because of master. And then what will happen? The person will directly start radiating the correct software automatically. This can happen when a disciple is completely open to the master. If you are in love with the master for no reason, there should not be any goals. No reason. You just fell in love with your master. It's like a love affair, first love affair. Then anything can happen, isn't it? See, understand. For no reason, if you fall in love with your master, means you may not be attracted to his teachings or to his meditation techniques, but you simply fell in love. That's all. In that case, straight away, you can change the hardware. Those kind of disciples will simply radiate the quality of the teachings and meditation without even going through all of them. That's what I told you in the beginning, isn't it? In the first line. Even without going through any meditation, completion, anything, you'll just like that radiate the quality if you fall in love with your master. As of now, both hardware and software in you are outgoing towards the outer world. If you get the right understanding, suddenly the mind becomes ingoing, going in towards spirituality, towards a cleansing process. The conscious portion is cleansed by the teachings, and the unconscious portion is cleansed by meditation. But even if the mind turns inside, the brain will not be able to handle it.
On C6.
Then naturally, the brain will try its best to retain its present grooves. If the mind is very strong and stays in the same tune, the brain will slowly change. But immediately, if after the teaching and meditation is given, the initiation is also given, the brain will also change and start holding the new software, new mind. Because it will get prepared to hold on to the new experience. See, when a new experience happens to you, you should be able to hold on. That will happen with teaching, with the meditation and initiation. This concept has to be understood clearly so that you may bring in enough awareness to allow the transformation to happen in you. See, let me tell you, understand, guys. We have a lot of desires. We want to make them reality. We take boons. Many people come for that sake to a master. Some people come because they have some problems and they want to clear them. But I tell you, the best way, don't have such goals and expectations. Just love your master. Just focus on the transformation. Understand, when transformation happens to you, when your frequency raises, automatically obstacles are cleared. Automatically. You'll manifest so many things in your life, in outer world. So you don't even have to ask a boon. You don't even have to have that goal. Understand? So let us see, how does the mind work? Hey, hopefully I'm not boring you all. You're fine, all of you? Okay, I want as many people as possible. Please have your video cameras on, please. I need to see you all. See, understand, this is just not only a session or a discussion. Along with satsang, simultaneously healing is happening, scanning is happening. Understand? So your video camera should be on. Okay. Okay. Now let us see how the mind works. How does the mind work? See, information enters through the eye in a certain way and it is processed. Actually, not just the information through the eyes, but information through all the 5 senses: nose, ears, tongue, touch, and eyes. As an example, we are just taking eyes. Let me explain it to you. When you see something, first the eyes sees it. There is something called chakshu in Sanskrit, which digitizes the information seen by the eye. Understand? You're understanding me clearly, right? That's why I'm going very slow, line by line. See, when you see something, there's something called chakshu, which means what? The chakshu is through eyes, not eyes itself. Eyes is the physical organ, right? But there is a shakti, which is seeing through that eye, correct? So this chakshu, which digitizes the information seen by the eye, it is something like a digital signal processor, the DSP. The signal or the input is converted into a digital file by this chakshu. This conversion happens to the information received through all 5 senses, not just the eye. Understand? Some conversion is happening. Whatever information is received, conversion is happening from the information received through all 5 senses, not just the eye. Then what happens? The file goes to the memory. In Sanskrit, we call this portion
This is going to be tough.
chitta.
Yeah, sneak it up behind us down. No problems at all.
Memory.
11
chitta.
rounds on the...
In the memory, a little more work is done on the file. For example, if you are seeing me now, the file is processed through the chakshu, then taken to the chitta, memory, and the memory starts analyzing the information. It does a process of elimination on the file received. It starts saying, this is not an animal, this is not a plant, this is not a rock, etc., etc., etc. The process of elimination is done by the chitta. Then the file goes to the mind or manas, which we called as manas. Mind. In Telugu, manassu. The mind does the job of identifying the file. It says, this is a human being. Now you're seeing me. Your mind is saying, this is a human being who is conducting a class. The mind concludes, this is it. Next, the whole file takes a quantum leap to the ego. Understand, guys, why I'm telling you all this is you have to know how your mind works, because only when you drop your mind enlightened, you are enlightened. Understand? If you have to derive to the final climax, you have to know all this. So now what happens? After a certain conclusion, mind takes a quantum leap to the ego, and your ego decides, based on your past experiences, what your next action or decision is going to be. Your action or your decision is based on your Past experiences. And who is doing all this? Ego. If you have past experiences with similar classes, say yoga or meditation, and they have been all right for you, if you think that it has helped you, you will decide to sit here on the screen, or else you will think it is better to leave. You may not like my class. So just try to understand this process. You are seeing me. The eye passes the information to the chakshu. The chakshu converts it to a digital signal. The memory then does all the elimination on the file. This is not, this is not, this is not. Then the mind does the identification of the file. This is it, this is it, this is it. Then the whole file takes a quantum leap to the ego. Here, you decide based on your past experiences whether to sit on the screen or leave the screen. The process of elimination versus that of identification can be more easily understood by understanding this. Let me explain. Let us say you want to find the word home in the dictionary. You start from the letter A and you eliminate not A, not B, not C until you come to the letter H, correct? Until you come to the letter H, it is only an elimination process. Once you come to H, it is an identification process. You will start identifying HO, then HOM, then you come to HOME. Even in the identification process, there is elimination. But that cannot be considered elimination because your whole attitude is changed during this time. Until you come to H, you don't even look at it, you only eliminate. Once you come to H, H becomes a standpoint. Then you start looking for HO, HOM, HOME, etc. So it is like this. You have thousands of files stored in your mind. Now, let us say that you are seeing me. You will first start eliminating. This is not a stone. This is not a tree. This is not an animal. Then you will come to the conclusion, yes, this is a lady. Once you come to this is a lady, you will start identifying my clothes. Oh, she's an acharya. Oh, she's a disciple of Swamiji, etc. So, through elimination, you find the right classification. In identification, you go in depth into that classification. So now understand, I'm talking about the phases of Paramashiva, 25 phases of Paramashiva. Elimination is breadth. Identification is depth. The elimination process is like handling many files. The identification process is like going deeply into a file. That is what the first three phases is: length, breadth, depth. Now, the process between the I and the mind is logical and conscious. You are completely aware of this process. It happens with your awareness. Now, the quantum leap from the mind to the ego is mostly unconscious. Listen to me. Till now, everything conscious. But from mind, when it leaps to ego, it's unconscious, mostly. That is the time when the actual decisions are made and is mostly an unconscious process for you. Because it happens without your awareness. During this time, you will decide illogically. You will make illogical decisions. Why does this happen? Why do you decide unconsciously and regret it later? Hey guys, understand. Look back and see. Many times we regret a lot of things after it's done, isn't it? The reason is the unconscious zone is filled with negative memories and restlessness. Hey, let me tell you, suppose your past experience has been bored with some meditation processes. Now also you'll feel bored with my class. Because it's based on your past experience. That is why be in the present and sit in listening. All your past memories, which we call samskara in Sanskrit, all your past thought patterns are stored in this zone as files. Unconscious zone. In the field of psychology, they use the word as stored memories. There are so many files stored in this zone without any logical connection between them. There's no logical connection, whatever is stored in our unconscious zone. There's no logical connection between memories or incidents which are stored there. What happens is, when the file takes a quantum leap to this zone, there is so much data stored, which causes so much restlessness in you. File means what? The information we receive from outside. We are talking in modern language. Because naturally in Sanskrit, if we talk, we can't understand. Present world is all about WhatsApp, Facebook, data, that, this, internet, correct. File, delete, memory, save. It's all about that. So we are talking in that language, which a man can understand easily. See, understand, there is so much data stored in the unconscious zone, which causes so much restlessness in you that the file does not even reach the ego properly for a decision to happen properly. These stored engrams simply start playing upon the information received. They just impose themselves and cause havoc in the decision-making process. As a result, the ego just makes a hasty decision, purely at the instinct level, and passes the file back. The decision is taken through an unconscious process. For example, according to the information that you have collected, you know that smoking is injurious to your health. It is not good for your body or your mind. You hold on to this decision as long as you are in the conscious zone. But once the mind takes the leap to the ego, the engrams just will instruct you to smoke. You will simply decide to smoke. That's all. We know it is wrong, but we will do it anyway. The conscious process says, no, it is not good for health. But the unconscious process says, actually, it doesn't even say, it. You know what? It doesn't even say, it will just take a decision and you will execute it. Understand, it is a pure instinct level decision. You know it's not good, but instantly you will decide. This unconscious area is very powerful. It can be used in 3 ways. Understand? Our unconscious area can be used in 3 ways. At the instinct level, at the intellectual level, or at the intuition level. As long as the unconscious is overloaded with negative memories and restlessness, it works at the instinct level. Understand this carefully. As long as the unconscious zone is overloaded with negative memories and restlessness. Hey, why do we go through anxiety? Tell me. Many times, worry, and anxiety, so-called stress we call. What is all that about? Tell me. It is all overloaded negative memories and restlessness. It works at the instinct level. As we just saw, you simply decide instinctively, unconsciously. When you are at the instinct level, you always end up regretting most of your decisions. Understand? See, please understand yourself. Here, what am I getting into? See, first, Bhagavan always says, Ramana Maharishi, who am I? Bhagavan is all about who am I, isn't it? What is this? Who am I? First, even before you know that you are Paramashiva, first you understand how your mind works. Understand how your mind works. What all is going on in your mind, behind your mind. Understand how your mind works. What all is going on in your mind, behind your mind. When you are at the instinct level, you always end up regretting most of your decisions. What all is going on in your mind, behind your mind. When you are at the instinct level, you always end up regretting most of your decisions. What all is going on in your mind, when you are at the instinct level, you always end up regretting most of your decisions. Please understand. It works at the instinct level because the unconscious, as we just saw, you simply decide instinctively, unconsciously. Works in three levels. When you are at the instinct level, that's why we always end up regretting at this level, most of you just associate things without any logical connection yourself and jump to a conclusion. What am I getting unconsciously? Many times we associate a lot of things Bhagavan without any logical connection, Maharishi, and we'll just simply jump into who am I? Conclusion. For example, Bhagavan, if you have been disturbed by somebody who was wearing a white dress, what is this? The moment you see somebody wearing a white dress, the first memory before you comes know that without your knowledge, and you will feel anger. First, you understand: is there a logical connection to it? Is there a logical connection to it? Without your conscious mind, this is without even you understand. Without your conscious just like mind, this is without even you understand. Without your conscious just like this is without even you understand. Without your conscious just like this is without even dig in deep through many files. Just like this is without even dig in deep through many files. Just like this is without in the file through many files. Just like this is without in the file through many files. Just like this is without in the file. Is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file is passing judgment files like this is not in the file it 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 You don't take big steps. You never do it. You are like a faithful servant. You never do it. Einstein says the intellect is a faithful servant. You can be a servant throughout your life. We can just be like a servant, but nothing more or big can be done through us. But nothing more or big can be done through us. At this level, you will just be collecting the data, processing it, and delivering the data. You will be nothing more than a computer. You don't make wrong decisions out of restlessness. You make decisions in a logical and conscious way. You are in a break-even state. At this level, you are still not using your potential to the maximum. The extent to which it can be used. The next level where you can actualize your entire potentiality is the intuition level. Intuition generally happens with Arnyajana. If you can infuse a deep silence and awareness into the unconscious zone and replace